So it's been a very interesting 24 hours. There was a massive piece of news that came from FanExpo Boston that I was originally going to cover last night. Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen reunited on stage, and they gave a Q&A. In it, Ewan spoke about Ahsoka Season 2, and according to the original outlet who reported this, which was Nexus Point, Ewan revealed that he's in the second season, and then looked at the crowd and said, "Wait a minute, was I supposed to reveal that?" He didn't know if the crowd already knew. It's been a long-standing rumor, but until that moment, we didn't have any confirmation. And so this update, based on one soundbite, was making the rounds, and fans were celebrating because they thought, well, if this rumor is true, what about the rumors about Abeloth and Padme flashbacks? It was a big moment. But then, Collider.com, who were also in attendance, clarified the situation. That's not what he said. Ewan definitely brought up Ahsoka, but it was in the context of his wife, Mary Elizabeth Winstead, who plays Hera Syndulla in the show. McGregor was asked, being part of the franchise is one thing, but are you a fan of Star Wars these days? To which McGregor responded, yes. I like watching my wife, so I really enjoyed Ahsoka. I thought it was brilliantly done. And then here's the bit that caused confusion. He said, quote, I know she's shooting for the second season. Is that a secret? Was I supposed to say that? Now we do know that Ahsoka Season 2 is in the filming stage, but the question is, how did Nexus Point News get this so wrong? They reached out to Lucasfilm for comment, and they denied Ewan McGregor is in it. And fans also noted, if he was going to be filming his Obi-Wan scene soon, his hairstyle does not look like Obi-Wan's. Maybe there was a misunderstanding with a muffled microphone. You know, sometimes you mishear things or you think someone said something they didn't. Maybe they were just trying to get clicks, I don't know. But the situation has now been cleared up. And in the Star Wars news space, this kind of thing happens all the time. There are always outlets who post a massive headline and then it gets debunked. On my channel, guys, even though people on Reddit or Twitter might say horrible things about me, make me out to be a bad person and drag my name through the mud, I always try to be reliable. I get my facts right. When I make videos about rumors, I make sure to label them as such, and I tell you all the time, take them with a huge grain of salt. It is fun speculating based on rumors, but I never come out and spout misinformation just for a few clicks. And I hope those of you who've watched my channel for a while, who enjoy my content, you know that about me. I make my videos for you guys. But here's the thing, according to our good friends, those who know about Ahsoka Season 2, those like Star Wars Santa, he's adamant Obi-Wan is in it. So even though Ewan didn't confirm anything, apparently guys, the rumor is true, he is going to be in Ahsoka. The question is it just for Clone Wars flashbacks, or also as a Force ghost? Everyone was buzzing about Hayden Christensen a couple of weeks ago. We found out he cancelled a few Comic-Cons to be involved in filming, and because it was branded as nighttime filming, we assumed it was Peridea scenes as Anakin's Force ghost. Is the same going to be true for Ewan McGregor? Is this Obi-Wan's Force ghost? With Alec Guinness gone, it makes sense. And it turns out, from things I've heard, from our good friends and reliable sources who know about Ahsoka, Dave Filoni is using Obi-Wan to finally explain the link between Peridea and Mortis. There is some kind of inexplicable link between both realms. Set aside Baylan for a moment. Anakin, Obi-Wan, both as Force ghosts, are on Peridea with Ahsoka, and years ago in the Clone Wars, all three of them found themselves in a very similar position. Master Kenobi is also linked to Mortis, not in the same way as Anakin and Ahsoka with the father and the daughter, but more so in terms of the Mortis arc from the Clone Wars. In that arc, Obi-Wan, Anakin and Ahsoka crash-landed there. They woke up in a daze, not knowing what happened. They were isolated from space and time. And if you remember in those episodes, all three characters saw very interesting visions. There was a dark side Ahsoka, Obi-Wan communed with Qui-Gon, and Anakin had nightmares of his mother, induced by the sun. So I think the most likely option is a flashback in live action to the Clone Wars Mortis arc. Can you imagine how amazing that's going to look? And remember, my dear friends, they're using one of the cinematographers from Wednesday, which to my mind means the fantasy elements of the show are going to be elevated. And I think Dave Filoni is going to use this flashback as an important recap for fans who didn't see the animated show. For the more casual audience, they're probably not going to retell it beat for beat, one for one, but because Peridea and Mortis are linked, and because we know there is stuff concerning the Mortis gods and Baylan, I think it makes sense just to remind fans of why Mortis is important. I say remind us, but why not actually tell us? Because even for those of us who've seen both the Clone Wars and Rebels, both which included references to Mortis, we're still very confused. Dave Filoni has introduced a bunch of different puzzle pieces, and even though he's addressed them, we still don't know entirely how they fit. the wolves, the worlds between worlds connection, how Balin and Shin fit into all of this. If Ahsoka Season 2 is about to do something galaxy-changing involving time travel, we don't know. We're just as confused as Hayden was when he interrogated Sabine. Anakin's role in all of this, did he finally become the father like the original one wanted? There is a long-standing theory that Dave Filoni is going to change the meaning of the Chosen One. It extends beyond his redemption in Episode 6. And in interviews, Dave Filoni has been teasing that he wants to do more with Anakin's duality. So that's going to be fascinating. Just expect a lot of mystery, fantasy, and more of the ethereal side of Star Wars. So literally the opposite of a show like Andor. Nonetheless, we have so many questions. But Obi-Wan is absolutely going to be part of it. Now, another fascinating update comes from Hayden, who was also in the room. He was sporting his Revenge of the Sith haircut. He's in full Ahsoka Season 2 filming mode, ready to go, and ready to film some new scenes with Ewan. With Anakin, it's definitely going to be Anakin's Force Ghost and flashbacks. And speaking of those, Hayden is now expressing an interest to play Darth Vader again, as he did in Episode 3, in the Kenobi show, and Ahsoka Season 1. He says he loves the physicality. While we don't know if he's going to be donning Vader's helmet again, he teases that he's not finished once the show is done. He says he's more than willing to take on the role again. He's just hoping Kathleen Kennedy and Lucasfilm ask him to do it. And he further expressed interest in the possibility of a Vader-centric series, a mini-series set during the original trilogy. Does he know something? Because Star Wars fans have been asking for this for a very long time. Another option he says he's down for is a standalone Vader movie. I say let him do it. While he's still in shape, while he's still fit and capable, just let him do it. And look, I already know the main criticism, the Skywalker saga is already all about Darth Vader, but what about filling in the gaps? If the comics can add something, so could another movie in the 2020s. And it reminds me of something which someone once said. I think this was an article I was reading, but essentially, from a profit standpoint, Star Wars should be simple. There are certain characters, certain stories which fans can never get tired of. If they made a Vader movie, and set it between, episodes 4 and 5, or even as an alternative to Kenobi Season 2, despite how fans felt about the first season, they would make a killing in the box office. We might have been frustrated with the way that they were handled in the first season, but then again I think Darth Vader was one of the best parts of it. We still love the character, and your average Star Wars fan very much still does. So you have to figure at some point they're going to do something like this. I hope Hayden Christensen is talking this into existence, talking into the universe, or maybe like I say, he knows something. If that's going to be a big surprise announced at Celebration in Los Angeles, I think we're in for a treat. As for Ahsoka Season 2, I have a bit of a theory about this, and I've shared it with you before. I think Dave Filoni and Lucasfilm are testing the waters for more of these characters in something else, whether it's Kenobi Season 2 or a movie. But I think they want to see how fans feel about them in 2026, when Ahsoka Season 2 releases. And if you want to go deeper with this, if they're doing Anakin's Force Ghost, Obi-Wan's Force Ghost, do you think there's a chance Liam Neeson is going to return as Qui-Gon's Force Ghost? Only a few days ago when asked about Star Wars, he said something I would say very suspicious. Go and check out that update if you missed it. But a lot of us assumed it might be for Kenobi Season 2. I'm going to say it might be Ahsoka. Qui-Gon was part of the Mortis arc, and it would just be a brief cameo. So even if he thinks that Star Wars has been diluted and it lost its magic, I think something like this he might say yes to, especially if the paycheck is good. Either way, Ahsoka Season 2 is going to be amazing, and I really hope the rumour about Sam Witwer playing the son is true.